In a kingdom where blood determines fate, a young woman was chosen to marry the prince in what seemed to be a traditional union. After cutting their palms and joining hands in an ancient ritual, she officially inherited the royal bloodline. However, at the end of the ceremony, a cruel truth came to light. The prince carried her to the midpoint of an old stone bridge, and without hesitation, threw her into an abyss. This act wasn't driven by personal betrayal, but by a dark pact with a legendary creature, the dragon. The young woman, now unconscious at the bottom of a cavern, had been offered as a sacrifice. Time passed before she awakened, crying out for help, but instead of rescue, her voice awakened the very creature that had been waiting, the dragon. Realizing that her marriage had been a carefully orchestrated lie, part of a generational curse, she was overcome with rage. She tried to climb the slippery rocks but fell again, noticing jewels scattered around, remnants of past victims. Soon after, she saw a burning bird. She tried to save it, but failed. As she attempted to bury it, a swarm of flaming birds erupted from the darkness, attacking chaotically. When it was over, only scorched remains were left. In the midst of the chaos, a low growl signaled the dragon's approach. The girl ran in desperation and narrowly escaped through a narrow crevice. Wounded, she took refuge in a cave the creature couldn't reach. It was then, for the first time, that the dragon spoke. "Did I hurt you?" Terrified but determined, she treated her wound using makeshift methods, lit a fire with the still glowing embers, and moved forward. Along her journey, she discovered that glowing insects had healing properties, a vital revelation for her survival. Every step in the cavern was a puzzle, until she found a map etched into the wall by someone who had also tried to escape. Following the map, she reached a vertical shaft covered in crystals and ancient symbols. Using a crown she found nearby and strips of fabric, she crafted a way to climb. As she nearly fell, her ingenuity and persistence saved her. At the top, she saw the exit, but also an abyss. She shouted for help upon seeing figures in the distance, only to attract the dragon again. In a critical moment, the voice of her father echoed, distracting the beast and allowing her to flee. On the way, she found a chamber filled with gold and the bodies of 3 baby dragons. Then everything made sense. The curse placed on the king who had slain the dragonlings, condemning his bloodline to endless pain. The pact was clear. Royal blood had to pay with sacrifices. To avoid sacrificing their own, the royalty began marrying commoners. The young woman, driven by desperation, saw her father die trying to protect her. She escaped again, only to learn that her sister had been chosen as the next offering. She returned to the abyss, now familiar with every path, and devised a plan using her father's weapons and her own cleverness. Distracting the dragon with a simple device, she attempted to rescue her sister, but was confronted by the beast. Even after declaring she didn't truly belong to the royal line, the dragon, attuned to blood, didn't believe her. The final battle was brutal. The girl was burned, wounded, and overwhelmed. But with a precise strike, she pierced the dragon's eye, gaining a small window of opportunity. In a smart move, she lured the dragon into a trap where its own flames, reflected, caused it serious injury. Instead of taking revenge, she chose forgiveness. She showed her wounded hand, explaining how the royal blood had been mixed with hers against her will. Using the glowing insects, she healed the dragon's wounds, ending a centuries-old cycle of pain. Interestingly, in the movie, Millie Bobby Brown trained for months to perform her own action scenes, bringing authenticity to her character's journey, a young woman also unjustly sacrificed. That parallel between courage and survival resonates deeply in this story. One striking moment is when the protagonist chooses not to seek vengeance, even with every reason and the means to do so. Personally, I wouldn't have forgiven so easily after everything, but her decision showed a maturity that transcended the cycle of hate passed down through generations. And now to my attentive subscribers, if you were in the protagonist's place, would you have trusted the dragon after everything that happened? Leave your thoughts in the comments, but only if you're subscribed. If you want to comment, just hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. That helps me bring more content like this to the channel. See you in the next one.